participating and they lost KIC 2025. You know they're going to be coming back with that heat, right? You were talking earlier about Xuan with his anger, and you can obviously see that the passion burns bright here for Nova Esports.
Yes, and to add in more change to that, now that Kong Ling has taken this lead spot in the jungle over CY, so far I find his performance has been pretty steady. He is consistent as well, right? And he has managed to show us quite a few flex into the jungle picks as well. There is no longer a stock standard jungle pick. He literally can play anything.
That's what you want, right? Obviously, CY, yes, he's a fantastic player, but having somebody that's more of a virtuoso is definitely going to be able to kind of like throw off your enemy team, right? Like we always say the ban and draft's a 4D chess game, but when you have somebody, a player like Kong Ling, it then becomes into like a fifth dimensional kind of chess game. It's like, right, okay, so what can we ban? What can't he play? But looking at these first bans here, they're very sort of stock standard bans. Obviously, Luna, the Moonblade being top banned heroes so far up there with Pei Tigerus, and now the Orgrim being banned out here. So really sort of like forcing down Haku right now. Obviously, we know that Haku loves that Orgrim.
Yes, and this tells us quite a bit, right? Now there's so many picks available. Like you said, Pei is open. We also have the Yang and Dolia combination available. These are some of the standard picks we have seen in the past 3 days, and right now all of them are open.
They're all open, but it looks like Nova's going to go and play it safe here with the potential pickup of the Dolia, the C Singer, because obviously the amount of combos you can go for with this hero is pretty crazy. It's pretty untapped.
Yes, it is. So many options to explore. You can have the Nerja as one of the picks. You can have the Yangjin Trilight as one of the picks. You can even go for, Musashi double ultimates as well. And one of those options was the Lung. But NONGSHIM REDFORCE are going to take that away. Now, this is a double marksman strat if they really lock in this Lung. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's definitely going to give him the range, right? It's going to put the pressure on into these team fights a little bit earlier that maybe Nova Esports is expecting, but I feel like the way you're going to get around that is either some great access into the backline, which is obviously the answer that we're seeing here, right? Obviously the Trilight, the Yang Jian, as well as the Parasolar. Obviously be able to zip around, be able to kind of like get into the nitty-gritty of the enemy team, and then be able to get out, especially when it's piloted by a player like Muchi.
Yes, and this is going to be probably going to be a 1v1 matchup in the farm lane, especially with the way that it's drafted. But it's a definite skill matchup here, right? Lung against Arlie, this is one that has been in the history books. This is a skill matchup because both are single target burst heroes. And with that, this means the remaining picks coming out from both sides, it has to be super tanky or super control heroes.
Exactly. I feel like the Earthshaker Lianpo is probably a good answer here for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, because obviously using the charges into the enemy team, trying to if Yang Jian goes into the backline of your enemy team, and then obviously Lianpo goes into the enemy's backline, it's kind of then like who's then going to be there trying to save their backline. It's all about going to be a battle of who can burst down the backline of the enemy team quicker, right?
Yeah, who takes more punches, who's able to soak in more punches, and who's able to deal that finishing blow. Now, okay, I don't know about you, Blam, but I feel like NONGSHIM REDFORCE, this Forge Maiden Chicha is going into the Clash lane, or the jungle maybe, and maybe a Liu Bang in the Clash lane.
Potential, right? Obviously, because obviously they have banned out a very sort of like topside orientated or sort of like the Clash lane orientation there, especially with the Charlotte and the Byron band there, locking in and solidifying that newer, the Celestial, that pairs very nicely with the Lung, right? Obviously, Lung not having the most famous of Lung range abilities, but then having the Celestial, newer, Illusion on this pick is going to put a lot of pressure onto the top side and bot side of the map here, but we have the Majestic Guardian for the side of Nova, and hovering the white anchor here, the Arthur.
Okay, I feel like this is going to be a very tough challenge for NONGSHIM REDFORCE. Now, they are able to play from range, right? Majestic Guardian, the Garuda, this is one of the stock standard picks we've seen. All you have to do is keep poking. We've seen teams like Blacklist use it yesterday to full effect, right? Wings of Judgment, ultimate, super far range, and if you get too close, you can activate it again to lay that dread on you. You're forced to run away. NONGSHIM REDFORCE, they get up the Flowborn tank. Great answer. Is it going to be tanky enough? Because the white anchor is also a mega tank here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously you got the Atta that's going to be, you're going to have to kind of try and build some kind of anti-heal to kind of get over that huge health bar that he can amass within himself. But then obviously you've got the parent of the Yang as well, right? So there is going to be a need for those anti-tank items here onto the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. But I do like the fact that we are seeing a bit more orientation within the meta, right? Having like two staple huge front lines for both of these teams. You've got the Peaceful Fist as well as the Earthshaker for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, and then you've got the Tri-Light as well as the White Anchor onto the side of Nova Esports. So once again, it's, are they going to commit the two tanks to try and get onto the back lines and see who can try and get the one up once again?
I think they definitely have to, and my personal opinion for this is I feel like Rattel is going to have a very difficult time, right? One of the things you need to achieve as a Chicha or Forge Maiden here is to be able to land those auto attacks to change up your form. And based on the draft itself, I don't think you get access into any of the members on the side of Nova. Maybe you can get a couple of hits on the minions, but by the time you get your final form as the Chicha, I think that might be too late for NONGSHIM REDFORCE.
Yeah, it could be very scary. Obviously, Cheech kind of suffers into the early game, right? Obviously, you want to kind of try and get a little bit of itemization on board there, try and enhance her attack speed, that poke potential from the likes of the Sparkforged Dagger. But Cheech obviously has been one of these newer heroes, pretty dominant within the meta, obviously very highly sought for by these teams, but it's that global ban pick, right? Obviously, if you use it and you lose with it, the enemy team can still take it away from you and then still be able to try and take the point and show you how it's done. But game number one here, first match of the day. This is day 4 of the group stage of the Kings Invitational Season 4. It is Nova Esports going against NONGSHIM REDFORCE.
Right, we'll see how this is going to be like. I like this rotation by NONGSHIM. So putting 3 members to try to get the numbers advantage, because the wave clear isn't exactly in their favor. Wendy's wave clear as a Garuda is super fast, super strong, and add wave pit in that mix, I don't think you win this lane at all for Illusion.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a bit of a hard lane. Definitely one you're going to be trying to play with contempt for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, but still, given that too, we go on top side of the map here, the White Anchor trying to force Rattel into that wall, getting that CC very successfully here, but I feel like because Namu's there, it's kind of a bit of a saving grace here for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE.
And it's good, right? This is a different style of play from NONGSHIM, the way that they have supported their members really quickly in terms of rotations. This is what I like to see, but at the same time, maybe this is just a test, because if you take a look at Shren, he did fully commit quite a big chunk of his common spells. His flash is down for the next 2 minutes.
It is, but I mean, if you're going to use your flash and try and at least get something and you fail, it's okay, because it's going to be back up, like you said, in 2 minutes when that neutral objective is going to be online, right? So I don't think like it's going to be that much of an issue. He still has the means of escaping for himself in that lane, so if he does try to get dunk on, and in terms of obviously the lack of CC here, obviously from Cheech and that 1v1, it's not going to be the troublemaker here for the side of for Nova Esports.
Not. And I like this, right? Both teams actually put a lot of faith into their farm laners here, looking for that 1v1. But things have changed a little bit. Kongling is has TP down. He's already at level 4. And this is where the beauty of the lineup for Nova is.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very fast rotation. It's very good for aiding into those team fights. It's just putting the pressure onto, obviously, the likes of the Lungreichs. You're looking at timers here for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. Their 2 most important timers is both on Illusion and not on Siri here as well. But speaking of pressure, coming through here for the Majestic Guardian, it's going to be that ultimate that's so aggressive, but then Tri-Light into the back line. Kongling getting first blood.
Yeah, it's a big double whammy here as they go for that 1v1. Rattel has to back off, right? The biggest thing here is they lose the buffs on Haku, and it's Kongling who gets that finishing blow onto Haku, which means there's going to be a clear-cut EXP advantage.
Yeah, exactly. You can already see it, right? By level 5 to level 4 here, a bit of pressure being put on for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, trying to just kind of like sway the side of Nova from this bot side of the map here, obviously trying to contest that Spike Tail Beast. Any little bit of resources here is going to make a difference between both of these two teams, but Kongling gets caught out into the backline there. He gets picked off, but once again, thanks to that Celestial Melody, giving over that second ultimate meant that they're able to kind of clear away a path for Nova Wendy.
Yeah, that was definitely a mistake by Kongling. He had his ultimate, did not find the time to use it, but this was a forced error. NONGSHIM REDFORCE, if you take a look at the lineup, they actually have quite a lot of CC as well, right? Illusion, Haku, Siri as well as Namu, all of them have easy CC access. Ratel doesn't have it, but it takes a bit of time. So very nice understanding of what kits they have at the start of NONGSHIM to really get that kill back and even out the score. Goal-wise, Nova has a slight lead, but at this point, I don't think it matters that much.
Doesn't matter that much, but I mean, this slight goal lead could literally make a... I mean, not the slight goal lead, but the acquisition of these neutral objectives that are coming up in about 15 seconds could definitely turn the tides of this small goal lead for either of these two teams, right?
Yeah, and if you take a look at the rotations of both junglers, they want to make sure they get all the resources before they start making their way into the Tyrant Pit here. And Wendy and Waypit, I like this. They have already secured a prime position. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for NONGSHIM to step in without taking a risk. Namu does have his Tremor Smash. Let's see how he uses it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be the one that's kind of like trying to lead the charge here. He tries to just kind of give the intel, but there's no real kind of like go ahead or get up and go here for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. They just kind of admit defeat there at that neutral objective. They don't want to lose any lives here. Having to force out the Annihilation, just try and get a little bit of wave clear into this mid lane, but doesn't actually quite come to fruition here for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE.
Okay, this is where you start to see Nova starting to have a little bit of trouble.
Steering played a little bit close to the cards there. He looks low health, but it's going to be Haku here being contested at his own blue buff. Able to get it away from Kongling. Kongling looks pretty low. He has the shield, but Siri is here with the flaming palms. He gets the pickup onto Kongling.
And this is exactly what they needed, right? NONGSHIM, yes, they lost the Tyrant, but then the question after that is, okay, what is the recovery process? What options do we have? And that was one of them. Now, pressure put on by Wendy. I don't think he gets a kill here, but this is going to be quite a bit of nice damage onto the T1 at the bottom side. So Nova, they respond in kind, but NONGSHIM, I'm quite surprised. They're actually keeping pace with Nova in this game number 1.
Absolutely, keeping pace in terms of obviously trying to sort of like try and get trade-offs here from lost opportunities like the neutral objective, like you were saying there, Kim. But I feel like it was Nova giving them that, right? Obviously, Kongling, he kind of found himself a little bit lost in the source there, a little bit like Schwan here now with a 3v1 top side of the map here. Too much damage from Ratel, comes through, claims a kill, but now Kongling looking for a little bit of revenge onto Illusion, driving him away with a little low health bar. But it's gonna be that Tremor Smash that keeps them in place, but gets knocked down. Is gonna be Namu.
It's going to be a 1v1 trade, right? This is going to be Namu for the life of Xuan, which is definitely a better trade for the side of NONGSHIM. Your Clash laner falling for support is not ideal, but if they can trade this kill in the mid on Siri or take a T1, that would be fantastic. And it looks like that's going to be the case.
Potentially here, but it's with the Flaming Palms actually eradicates that minion into the mid lane there. Obviously, they can throw the feathers here from the Majestic Guardian just to try and chip away at that T1 so far. But now, eyes on the prize. It's that T1 down to the bot side of the map that really opens up here at the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. Really makes it a little bit more accessible to that blue buff that you just saw being taken away there by Nova Esports. But now, I can imagine the next prize pony is going to be that T1 into the mid lane here. Team fight trying to take place, Annihilation, just trying to drive them away and keep those minions out of there.
Oh, they couldn't do it in time. This is going to be a T1 claim for both the mid and the bot. Siri does find a trade in the top side, which is okay, not the worst or best situation, but I want to talk about this item build on Wendy as well as Illusion. Illusion went for the Venomous Staff, right, for the anti-heal. We all know why. You want to make sure you don't allow the tank ability on the side of Xuan as well as the heal coming out from Waypit. But very big differences. Hang on, they want to get something here.
They want to get something. I mean, it looks like they're trying to get Waypit, but I mean, it looks like he's kind of just like used this Dolia. The fish is the bait here, but it's going to be that Tremor Smash that keeps Schwan in place. But is it going to be enough to be impressive here to get a kill onto the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE? But Wendy picks up the kill for Haku, and losing your jungler right now, especially where momentum is building here for Nova Esports in terms of the gold lead, is not where you want your falter.
This is where the itemization of Wendy is so smart, right? He actually disregarded the anti-heal, went straight for the Mask of Agony, dealing percentage health damage. And once your tank is not tanking, Haku is supposed to be your frontliner along with Namu. And, you know, when Haku's gone, take a look at what's happening.
you get rinsed down. Like, obviously, you got one tank on. That's going to be a lot of pressure being put onto Namu, as you just saw there. He gets taken down by Muchi, and now Muchi level 10. I mean, with the red buff as well, the Crimson Golem going over to their marksman, that's going to be a lot of pain game.
Yeah, it definitely is. And there's no defense coming in from NONGSHIM. Not because they don't want to, but because they can't. Oh, jump!
Oh, yeah, the jump onto Illusion, but it's able to actually get out a little bit of a, not scot-free, but still able to live with his life. Can be said opposite for here for Wendy. He gets taken down by Ratal, so a nice little poke kill there for the side of NONGSHIM. But what's a kill when you can get a turret?
Yeah, a very nice trade, right? I think at this point, having Wendy lose his life is not the biggest deficit in the world. If we take a look at the item builds across the board, everyone is starting to get tanky. But the big problem here is the fact that Muchi is already having two major items, core items by the way, Doomsday as well as the Sparkforce Jagger, going into the third item. And this was one that's going to hurt because the teamfights are going to take a long time, which is beneficial for Nova.
Tyrant has been defeated.
Exactly. It's going to be very beneficial for Nova, especially in terms of having, obviously, the front line being able to kind of like soak that damage. And then, I mean, you've seen it time and time again so far within this game number one. Wendy, Muchi just be able to put the pressure on from that very safe distance. And the problem here with NONGSHIM is obviously the Peaceful Fist, the Flowborn tank. As soon as it's into the team fights, it's hard to get out of there.
Yes, it is. And this is the first part of the problem. So the second part, if you take a look at the draft of Nova, they really just require Kong Ling and Waypit to be together, and NONGSHIM have to group up. Meanwhile, the rest of the members on the side of Nova will be able to split push.
Ooh. Yeah, able to split push, able to try and split apart this team fight here. It's going to be NONGSHIM REDFORCE, but Xuan getting burst down. The Flaming Palms actually not going to be enough just to connect that depth there, but it's going to be the try line.
Oh, they can't!
With a re-engage, gets the pick up onto Haku, onto Ratal. He's looking for more, but the damage doesn't come through. He takes a little bit too many blows from that T2 into the bot side of the map here. Nova, again, Ling gets run down though after a very successful double kill. Take down T2 into the mid lane. Nova are looking very strong.
Yep, and this is where the risk-taking of Nova has gotten a little bit better this year as well, right? A lot of you will be like, okay, why is Kong Ling giving his life? Why is he diving like crazy? Look at what they're taking across the map for Nova, and this fight, they don't win this on the side of NONGSHIM.
They don't win this, and I mean, your character respawns. Your turrets don't, unless you've got a hider, which they don't onto the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, and they no longer have the Earthshaker. Namu gets caught out a little bit too overzealous there into that early part of the engage, especially around that neutral objective, and now you're at the behest of Wendy, Muchi, both having that Shadow Tyrant buff, which is that extra damage and extra movement speed. And now you're at that 11-minute match here, and the scaling is not quite scaling here for the side of NONGSHIM.
Yeah, and this was the concern, the outrage. Look at Haku. He is just in a world of pain at this point. 7-5, and it's a 4,000 goalie going to the side of Nova. The gold is not the huge issue here. It's the fact that NONGSHIM can't take the fight in the way that they want. They're getting poked out.
They are getting poked out, and they're getting pushed towards their crystal, right? It's just a very bad situation here for NONGSHIM REDFORCE. Haku once again with the problem of the Peaceful Fist. You get in, you commit, you die. Your tank falls as well. You have no front line. Namu falls as well. We see that Ratel is able to get the pick off here onto Xuan as well, but Wendy just using that Featherstorm just to push away Illusion there. It was a good play and a bit of a saving grace for Nova, but it's now about the defense for NONGSHIM.
Yep, it's looking like the game plan is very clear from NONGSHIM, right? We're gonna have Haku and Namu. They're gonna keep trying to dive Muchi, push him away. Meanwhile, this allows room for Ratel to get his stacks in, and hopefully he will be the hero for the team along with Siri. But so far, it's not working. T3s will be taken down in the mid, and NONGSHIM, the room gets a little bit smaller.
It does get very small here for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. Nova knew what they were working with, right? With Namu, with Haku down, they knew that there was nothing really there to kind of defend that T3 into the mid lane here. So Nova was just like, all right, all thrusters go burning bright here for the side of Nova Esports. But right now, they are currently looking to try and formulate around about this Shadow Overlord here. A big team fight could be taking place here. Namu trying to get the catch onto the backline, but gets taken down. It's going to be Ratel. Namu looking like he's going to follow here as well. The Radiance isn't going to slow down this show that is Nova Esports. Haku as well. Siri is the last surviving member. Can he get back to base? Is that going to be his goal here? Using the Infinite Vastness just to keep him safe, just to save face and say, like, guys, I'm the only one left standing at the end of game number 1 as their crystal falls. It's going to be Nova Esports taking game number 1.
Beautiful, clean, and crisp. Very clear message from the side of Nova. This is the standards you have to rise to in this new year of 2026 for HOK. So Nova takes game number 1. And would you say that was a convincing performance by Nova?
I would say so. I mean, there was kind of little glimmers of hope there for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, right? Obviously, there were a few pickups. Obviously, Ratel was able to kind of get a few kills on the Forge Maiden, the Cheetah, but it just wasn't enough, right? Like, that's the problem with NONGSHIM's team comp. Is the fact is, if you can't put pressure onto the backline and then get the takedown onto the backline, it just kind of makes it like a bit of a good deal for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE.
Yes, and I like this. Yes, NONGSHIM did take an L in this first game, but I like the improvement. Ratel showing that he does have the capabilities to really step up against a team like Nova. But Nova, the way that they're stretching and pushing the limits on the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, this is something you need to study, right? Sometimes it's okay to give kills, like there were moments where Kongling was over-diving per se, but it came with a beautiful trade, right? Taking a T2, making sure the waves are in your favor so you can have a good team fight. And Wendy and Muji, the two of them, just absolutely menaces to the side of NONGSHIM, poking from afar, jumping in and out, weaving, bobbing. And I feel like NONGSHIM, this was a tough lesson, but a beautiful performance nonetheless.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like the misconception with getting the kills, especially when you're the team that's tracking behind as well, right? Yes, you're able to get the kill, but can you get multiple kills? Because that's when obviously you start to see the tides turn for the losing team. But for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, yes, they got maybe a pick off here and there, but it was at the behest of maybe a T1, a T2, or even their blue or red buff. So really there for NONGSHIM REDFORCE, if they are playing from behind, you want to try and capitalize on getting as many kills as possible. So there's not as much pushing power across the gorge, but that's just Nova's strength, right? Like, they know they don't have to commit all the team to get the results, like you were saying in the game there, Kin. All it really is Conling and Wei Pit having to rotate around, whereas NONGSHIM, they have to be a 5-stack crew.
Yes, and it's so difficult, right? When you just require 2 members to force the team out into a team fight, this is where things get really awkward. At the same time, I think we pay attention to the gold on the side of Haku. Yes, I was correct. I was thinking, wait, is he really at half the value of Muji here? And he was 6,500 gold. This is why the tank was not tanking, right? And if your jungler, who is meant to have the highest EXP at the start of the game, is trailing not just in EXP but gold, and Namu obviously will not be far behind. This was a difficult game for NONGSHIM to put up a defense.
Yeah, I mean, we have to obviously basically call a pair, an apple, right? Obviously, Flowborn tank, it's not the fastest clearing in the jungle, right? Obviously, yes, you are going to kind of falter at the turns of obviously slow gold, slow kind of farm, but to be very close, just to be 1.4k gold ahead of your support, like you said, Ken, is not where you want to be. And facing that 160k damage from Wendy as well, it's not elsewhere. It's not where you want to be as well.
Yeah, it is so difficult to play this game, right? The same concerns that we mentioned about earlier, which is, okay, Ratel, how fast can he get his stacks in? How fast does he get his final form, right? In the meantime, Haku and Namu, if they're unable to survive, where does the damage come from? It's supposed to come from Illusion, Siri, and Ratel, of which they did, if you take a look at the stats. But Nova, Wendy just owns 1 ulti, and then you have Wei Pit refreshing the ultimates on the side of Kongling, and it's a 3v5, and they win that every single time.
Exactly. Like you said, obviously, yes, they're able to get the damage come through, but it's sustaining that damage, right? And that's the thing that doesn't happen when your tanks have been deleted off of the gorge. Is you cannot sustain the damage, you can't sustain into that team fight because you've got to get up out of there, like you saw towards the end of that match. Siri was the only last member surviving on the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, has to burn out the Infinite Bastards just to survive. But you're looking here, obviously, top side of the map here into the clash lane in terms of the head-to-head here. Yes, obviously, Rattel naturally is going to do more damage on the Forge Mage and the Cheacher, but the damage taken here is kind of irreplaceable from the side of Nova Schwan.
Yes, a different kind of kit available. So Nova kind of played the same game here, right? We have the Mega Tanks, White Anchor, the Arta being front-facing, and of course we have Kongling here taking quite a bit of damage as well for the team. But the difference here is the fact that he is dealing the damage too. Very different story for the side of Haku here. He did manage to squeeze and wedge himself into the middle of Nova's lineup. But when you have a player like Wendy, if you take a look at the damage he dealt, like you mentioned before, 160,000. And bear in mind, this is damage given without putting himself in a position of risk, which was not the same for NONGSHIM at all.
Oh yeah, it's a complete night and day difference there from the damage dealt to the damage taken was huge by the side of the mid lane on Nova Esports. But you have to kind of give props over to Muchi here as well, right? Like obviously able to get those crucial itemizations at the great time into this game number one here. Really just showed that I don't feel like NONGSHIM put enough pressure down to that bot side of the map because they weren't able to, because like we said, Nova's Wave Pit and Kongling constantly rotating, very aggressive with their rotations, meant that they kind of just couldn't just be like, you know what, let's commit 3 men down to the bot side, let's put pressure onto Muchi so he doesn't able to get that early game scaling.
Yeah, I love this, right? And with the draft that Nova has, Wave Pit is allowed to go for utility builds, right? He doesn't have to go for the tank items. The Dawn Knight itself, he's not the main person to survive. He just needs to make sure that you know, his jungler Kongling stays in the front. And of course, the guy that made it all possible here, the MVP, Wendy, shooting from afar, 2-1-7, dealing a total of 160,000 damage. Majestic indeed.
Yeah, absolutely majestic here. 160k damage dealt, only 1 life lost here, which really just shows that you probably see from these highlights, if you get the highlight death here within this reel, it's more likely at the expense of the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, whether it be obviously a turret, an objective. It was probably a well-timed death here for the side of Wendy, but from that word go, aiding that first blood, being able to create that pathway as well for Kongling. Like, he was able to be not just like an absolute maestro in terms of damage, he was able to use those feather storms just to kind of clear a path, get his team out of that team fight that they didn't want to be in.
Yep, and it's like a horror hospital, right? Okay, we're gonna give you a syringe, put an IV on you, but we're gonna put 10,000 IVs in your body. And at this point, NONGSHIM, by the time they realize that, hey, we have overextended, it's a little bit too far forward, it's too late.
Yeah, that's a lot of holes. And at that point, are you a human or cheese, I suppose, is going to be the point that people can discuss in the chat. But Namu gets taken down, obviously, into that there. I feel like Namu, obviously, yes, he's the kind of like the secondary tank within the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE, but he was always kind of just like a little bit overzealous with his kind of way into the team fight. Like, Haku was never always nearby. He was kind of maybe just like a few moments away, a little bit too delayed here for my liking for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. But it's only game number 1, right? Obviously, game number 2, they can take what they've learned from that game there, that beating from Nova Esports, and see if they can turn it around in this next round.
Did you see that?